You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat Veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View.
All right, this is Jessie. How y'all doing out there today? You know I miss you when we're not talking. Not what? You don't believe me? I do. All right, got the printer fixed. Yes, that means show prep in the paper form, so you can hear it. All right, folks, I'm going to give you a heads up now. We will be ending the show on taps. You know what that means. The Department of Defense has identified the death of a soldier in Operation Freedom Sentinel. So we will get into that, of course, at the end of the show. All right. There is a lot going on in the world. I know. It's my favorite saying, but it's true. It's true. So, we're going to do a little blowback from Syria, a little wrap up there. And I'm actually working with my favorite host, my favorite guest, actually, recurring guest at that, Justin Kinney. What do you mean you haven't heard the psychology of the boom? The psychology behind suicide bombing? The boom? Well, you best go find it. Jessies POV is on Twitter. We are available I am on Twitter at Jessies POV. But you can find my shows on iTunes, Google Play, Blueberry, Podcast.com, Pocket Casts, and so many other places, I can't even begin to mention them all. So, you get yourself on over there and you take a listen to that episode, because it was quite frankly fascinating. All right, moving right along. We have to talk Syria. And that means their big brother, Russia. Now, got your Middle East scorecard? Oh, I got mine, so let's do a quick recap, folks. Bashar al-Assad, president of Syria, being propped up by Russia and Iran. Iran and North Korea trade missile technology. Oh yeah. They trade stuff that sounds a bit like this. So, we don't like that. We don't like it when they trade that kind of stuff. So what did the United States do? Well, the United States decided a few days ago to make a little bit of those bing bang booms of their own. So what they did was they launched 59 Tomahawk cruise missiles into Syria. Great job, guys. Great job, Navy. You did it again. Outstanding. Now, there were 60 launched, one fell into the sea and did not hit its target. The 59 out of 60, darn good odds, guys, darn good. So, while we weren't so worried about the airfield, as recent reports have shown, what we were worried about was their strategic ability to use the refuel aircraft, launch aircraft, and we pretty much wanted to destroy a lot of things so that Syria would get the message, you don't use chemical weapons on your own citizens, you goobers. All right. Now, a lot's been said about this. A lot will continue to be said about this. I want to remind you what our own Nikki Haley had to say on the floor of the UN Security Council. Yes, Ambassador Haley, our ambassador to the UN. Let's play part of this.
Terrorized its own people. It has murdered hundreds of thousands and displaced millions. It has broken international law and violated numerous UN resolutions. It has committed criminal acts that shock the conscience of all humanity. The international community has repeatedly expressed its outrage. The Joint Investigative Mechanism has found beyond any doubt that the Syrian regime has used chemical weapons against its own people multiple times. On Tuesday, the Assad regime launched yet another chemical attack on civilians, murdering innocent men, women, and children in the most gruesome way. Assad did this because he thought he could get away with it. He thought he could get away with it because he knew Russia would have his back. That changed last night.
Boy, oh boy, did that change last night, folks. Well, not last night anymore, but boy, did that change last week. If you remember correctly, reports of these missiles were just coming in when I was on the air on Thursday, and I cut my show short because I couldn't properly cover it with you, and I think we all wanted to get off and find out what was going on. I know I sure did. And I watched news coverage from all around the globe up until about 3 o'clock in the morning when, well, quite frankly, your host had to head off to bed and get some Z's because your host was flat out exhausted. So, what was Russia's reaction on the floor of the Security Council? Now, you're going to hear the Russian voice and then the voice of a translator in the background and the voice of a translator. Try and pay attention to the translator. I did the best to drown out the Russian, but it wasn't easy.
On the night of the 7th of April, the United States attacked the territory of sovereign Syria. We describe that attack as a flagrant violation of international law and an act of aggression. We strongly condemn the illegitimate actions by the U.S. The consequences of this for regional and international stability could be extremely serious. This attack was a flagrant violation of the 2015 memorandum on preventing incidents and ensuring security during our operations in Syrian airspace, and the Ministry of Defense of Russia has stopped its cooperation with Pentagon under that memorandum.
All right, so Russia threw its toys out of the cot when we bombed Assad. Now, we did give them a heads up through the military deconfliction channel so their people wouldn't be harmed. Russia, how do you expect us to act when you are supporting a murderous, lunatic, ravaging thug? I'm sorry, but you don't have a leg to stand on. Here's why.
Russia's violations of international law are now a matter of record, from what happened with Crimea to other aspects of their behavior in mucking around inside other people's elections and that sort of thing. So I think the point I would make is that NATO stands united. The transatlantic bond is united. We are going to maintain Article 5 as absolute bedrock of the NATO alliance.
And that was our very own Mad Dog Mattis. Yes, Mad Dog, thank you very much for telling it like it is. Because Russia?
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
agree to support an evil dictator. Oh, what's that, Host Kitty? Was that for Bashar al-Assad? Oh. Well, Assad, you get a double hiss. Haven't seen one of those in a while. Host Kitty must not like you, not one bit, Assad. I doubt you'll ever go nose to nose with Host Kitty. He'd probably try and claw your eyes out, Assad. Alright, moving right along. So, outstanding job in Syria. I believe we sent the message. Now, what has Iran's missile technology trading partner, China, and North Korea been up to? Oh, it wouldn't be a show without North Korea. Now, would it, folks? Really? If I didn't say the words North Korea, what would you think of me? You'd think I'd fallen asleep at the switch. But before I do, I just forgot I have the official statement by Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis in response to the use of Syrian government's chemical weapons. The U.S. military strike against Sarat airfield on April 6 was a measured response to the Syrian government's use of chemical weapons. The president directed this action to deter future use of chemical weapons and to show the United States will not passively stand by while Assad murders innocent people with chemical weapons, which are prohibited by international law and which were declared and destroyed. In host note here, allegedly destroyed. I really think Russia looked the other way. The assessment of the Department of Defense is that the strike resulted in the damage or destruction of fuel and ammunition sites, air defense capabilities, and 20%, oh yes, 20% of Syria's operational aircraft. The Syrian government has lost the ability to refuel or rearm aircraft at Sarat airfield, and at this point, the use of the runway is of idle military interest. The Syrian government would be ill-advised to ever again use chemical weapons. All right. Mad Dog, you hit it out of the park. Oh, yes you did, Mad Dog. Assad, dude, stop the chemical weapons. You've gone too far. And we don't have a mom jeans wearing president anymore. We have someone who's going to tell it like it is and do what they need to do. All right. Let's see what else I can get done before we gotta go to that pesky commercial break. Let's see. Should we do North Korea? I think we'll save North Korea for after the break. I got a couple other things that are somewhat connected and somewhat not connected. Alright, so let's take care of those. Now, I got two more Russian bombing related ones, so let's get them out of the way. Trump's military airstrikes in Syria risk raising tensions with Tehran, Iran. And of course, as we know, Iran is backing Assad in a conflict with dangerously blurry battle lines. Tehran, of course, condemned the strikes, and officials have raised the possibility of consequences. Yeah, right. What are you going to do? You start getting out of line, Iran, and I hope you start hearing some of this yourself. Maybe with a little of this on the way. Because, boy, are we sick of you. We are absolutely sick of you trying to jerk our chain. You say you agree to an international agreement, and then as soon as you can, you're going, nope, that wasn't covered, that wasn't covered, that wasn't covered. Well, just to remind my listeners, this host's view on the Iran nuke deal, that thing wasn't worth the paper it was printed on, folks. Not even worth the paper. Because there were so many side deals, caveats, and loopholes, you could drive a Mack truck through it. All right, so what's the international community saying? Well, there is no sign that Tehran has retaliated against U.S.-American forces, and they haven't done any unsafe or any unprofessional acts with the Iranian maritime forces since the strike. And that was Commander Bill Urban, spokesman for U.S. Navy's Bahrain-based Fifth Fleet. However, on Sunday, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, said the U.S. strike on the base was a strategic mistake and an offense. One prominent Iranian lawmaker threatened consequences. Russia and Iran won't be quiet against such acts which violate the interests of the region. And that was Aladdin Bojardi, head of the Parliamentary Committee on National Security and Foreign Policy, out of none other than Tehran, Iran. The U.S. has taken great pains in recent years to work around Iranian fighters in Iraq and Syria as it battles Daesh. That has partly reflected an effort to safeguard a landmark nuclear deal and to avoid another American conflagration in the Middle East. However, I don't think Trump, A, would have signed that deal, and B, I don't think he's willing to stop unless he has to. I think he's going to make sure he keeps Iran, North Korea, and with a little help from NATO, Russia in check. And yes, I know I've been talking about Trump way more than I usually do on this show, but he is Commander-in-Chief, folks, so at times he really does fit. Now, most people, and your host believes so, this was a one-off operation. We will likely see a relative calm and measured response from Iran and its Shiite proxies. Yes, Iran is Shia, or Shiite. Take your pick, same song, two pronunciations, same word, same beliefs. Remember, the other guys are the Sunnis. The Shias and the Sunnis don't like each other, and you gotta go back to the 6th century to figure it out. And your host does not have time on this broadcast to go back to the 6th century and try and explain this to you. I'm sure I've covered it. I am so certain it's been covered. And if you manage to scroll through my shows and find out that I have not covered it, please hit me up on Twitter at Jessies POV. Alright. Iran's backed Hezbollah fighters have been fighting alongside Assad, even while the U.S. was fighting Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen. Oh, yes. So we've been same side on some times and other side on other times. And I don't think Trump's trying to punish Iran with strikes in Syria. But I'd love to know if a change of pants was required afterwards. All right, folks. Now, this hasn't been the end of this noise. It is not. Love to say it, wish I could say it was. Foreign ministers from the G7, the group of 7 industrialized nations, sought Monday to establish a united front against Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, threatening to increase sanctions against the autocratic leader and his key ally Russia in the wake of the chemical attack last week. International condemnation over the incident continues to rage. U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said the U.S. stands firm in its commitment to protect innocent civilian lives. From attacks, fight aggressors. And your host is going to add evil aggressors. Russia has a choice, said Johnson, continue backing Assad's toxic government or work with the rest to find a political solution. And that was Boris Johnson, Foreign Secretary from the UK. Now, Johnson also went on to say he thinks the Russians, they're looking for an off-ramp. They're looking for a way out. But they got to save face while they do it. The attack in the town of Khan Sakun in northern Syria has renewed global focus on Assad's brutal government and the seemingly intractable Syrian civil war. It's also led to stepped-up calls for Assad's removal from power, along with new attempts to broker peace. The U.S. decision to launch a preliminary investigation in the Syrian conflict runs counter to the rhetoric that Trump espoused on the campaign trail. Well, it might, but I think the proof's in the pudding here, Johnson. He acted. He didn't sneak up on the situation. U.S. officials said they tracked a Syrian plane to the village where residents were subsequently found gasping for breath and foaming at the mouth. They had detected flashes on the ground at Khan Sakun at the time of the Russian airstrikes in the rebel-held town. Returning to pseudo-attempts to solve the crisis by repeating mantras that Assad must step down won't help sort things out. Russia previously would have been invited to summits such as Monday's meeting in Italy, but was kicked out of the major industrialized nations. Oh yes, they were given the boot. Oh yes, they were, 'cause this group used to be called the G8, folks. So what can I say? What can I say? They were bounced right on out of there. Now, everything hasn't been the negotiations haven't been going all that smoothly. And don't forget, we've got volatile situations in North Korea, Iran, Ukraine, and Libya to deal with as well. And energy ministers announced Monday afternoon they were unable to reach an agreement on a climate change statement after the U.S. said it was still reviewing its stance on the issue. All countries apart from the U.S., in other words all the G7, were prepared to sign a declaration restating their commitment to emissions reduction goals adopted at the 2015 Paris Agreement on Climate Change, but Trump has not shown the commitment to slowing climate change. He's no Obama, folks. So, that, I think, takes us to our commercial break. So you hang in there with me while we take that commercial break, and I will see you on the other side. Just remember, you can always find me on Twitter at Jessies POV.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine combat veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes. An album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@KLRNradio.com.
All right, thank you for hanging in there with me over that commercial break. We are going to stop talking Russia, stop talking Assad, but because we got other news. See, I still got some show prep left, folks. All right, let's talk Egypt. Yes, Egypt was a mess on Palm Sunday. Boy, oh boy. But there was a slight silver lining, although I'm sorry it resulted in death, because there actually was a Muslim policewoman who attempted to get in the way of the attack, and she tragically lost her life. All right. Daesh claimed responsibility for suicide bombings that hit Egyptian Coptic Christian churches in 2 cities Sunday, killing at least 44 people and wounding more than 100. In response, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah Abdel Fattah Sisi declared a 3-month state of emergency in the country, which has already seen a major clampdown on dissent and political expression. Remember, they don't have freedom of speech over there, folks. The twin bombings, the latest in a string of attacks against Christians in Egypt, came less than a week after Sisi and Trump met at the White House and pledged to work together to fight Daesh. 3 days after that, Trump stepped more directly into the maelstrom of Middle Eastern geopolitics by hitting Syria. Oh yeah, Trump's all over this. The first of the 2 bombings occurred at 9:30 a.m. at St. George's Church in the Nile Delta town of Tanta, killing 27 and wounding 78. And this is according to Sharif Wadi, an aide to the country's health minister. All right. Ratab, who worships at the church, said there was no security to protect churchgoers from the attacker, who of course blew himself up. And he was the guy that was inside Ratib, the guy that was inside the bombing, said, "I was inside the church at the time and suddenly the church was bombed. There were bodies and blood everywhere. This is a gruesome sight, folks, not what you want to see on Palm Sunday." Among the wounded was a 7-month-old who suffered severe burns. The second explosion occurred Sunday afternoon at St. Mark's Cathedral in the coastal city of Alexandria, where the patriarch of the Egyptian Coptic Church, Pope Tewodros II, had earlier celebrated Palm Sunday. It killed 17 people and wounded at least 48 others. Tewodros was in the Alexandria Church at the time of the bombing, but was not injured. The ministry said the blast was caused by a suicide bomber who tried to storm the entrance before being stopped by police. And there were not 1, but 3 Egyptian police who were killed. Thank you, Egyptian law enforcement. Yes, no, I seriously mean that, folks. Thank you. Because that was doing your job. Egyptian security officials said they found and defused explosive devices at several other locations Sunday, including a prominent Sufi Muslim shrine in Tanta and the College St. Marie, an all-boys school in downtown Alexandria. Christians do make up about 10% of Egypt's population of 85 million, and they are especially visible during Palm Sunday, 1 week before Easter, when they tote palms in the streets, and they have repeatedly been targeted by Daesh. And especially in recent years, local media reported another bomb was found at St. George's that was defused. The Coptic Church is the dominant Christian denomination in Egypt, where it is said to have been established in the 1st century by Apostle Mark. So, Al-Sisi, the president of Egypt, released a statement calling for the convening of a National Defense Council and condemning the attacks as treacherous terrorism. He offered condolences to the victim families and promised to investigate and bring those responsible to justice. He ordered immediate deployment of troops to assist police in protecting vital facilities across the country. Such terrorism, Sisi said, will never affect the determination of Egypt's and their true willpower to oppose the forces of evil. Rather, it will increase their determination to move past obstacles and achieve security. Way to go, Egyptian police. Now, moving right along to my next story. Israel shuts down the border with Egypt following terror warning. Israel closed its Taba border crossing to the Sinai Peninsula on Monday following warnings by anti-terrorism officials of a quote-unquote imminent military attack there. It also urged its citizens to leave Egypt hours before the start of the Passover holiday. Now, the Sinai Peninsula is a popular destination for many secular Israelis. Soon after the announcement, sirens wailed in parts of southern Israel, alerting residents to a rocket attack. The military said a rocket was fired from Sinai and exploded in southern Israel, hitting a greenhouse but causing no injuries. Yisrael Katz, Israel's transportation intelligence minister, said in a statement that there was intelligence regarding a potential quote-unquote terrorist attack against tourists in the Sinai Peninsula. The crossing remains open for those wanting to return from Egypt. The border closure comes a day after the militants in Egypt bombed 2 churches, killing dozens of Christian worshippers during Palm Sunday ceremonies. In the wake of those attacks, Israel's anti-terrorism office called on all Israeli tourists in Sinai to return home immediately. And anyone planning a trip to the Sinai Peninsula needs to cancel that trip. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu issued a statement Monday, sending Israel's condolences to the families who were murdered in yesterday's attack in Egypt, and wishing a quick and full recovery to the wounded. He also went on to say that the world must unite and fight terrorism everywhere. The Israeli government statement says the intelligent information shows increased activity by Daesh in Sinai. It adds that Daesh is losing ground in Iraq and Syria, so there's a renewed motivation to carry out terror attacks in different arenas. And that couldn't be further from the truth. That, men and women, girls and boys, is why we need our armed forces over there protecting and defending our interests. I know I'm almost out of time, but we gotta squeak in North Korea. So we are gonna fly through the lunatic in the north, otherwise known as quackers. Might help if I get the right buttons one of these days. Alright. I've got more Russia, but we're not getting there. It's just not gonna happen. Alright. So, North Korea. We all know they are developing an ICBM, or an intercontinental ballistic missile. They've done a whole host of tests. Alright, we're not talking one test. We are talking multiple. I don't have time for the full rundown, but let's just do 2016 and 17. January 6, 2016, North Korea said it successfully tested, hang on to your hats, a hydrogen bomb. Now, they hadn't tested anything since 2013, so January 6, 2016, North Korea successfully tested a hydrogen bomb. April 15, 2016, North Korea attempts to launch a Musudan missile, but failed. February 7th, 2016, these aren't in perfect order, sorry folks, I'm doing my best. North Korea launches a long-range rocket which put a satellite into orbit. Whether it actually put a satellite into orbit is up for wild speculation, folks. Alright, let's fast forward a little bit here. March 6, 2017, North Korea fires not one, but 4 ballistic missiles, 3 of them falling into Japan's exclusive economic zone. March 19th, North Korea announces rocket engine test, and it says it will help its country achieve world-class satellite launch capability. March 22nd, a North Korean missile appeared to explode just after launch. April 5th, 2017, North Korea fires a ballistic missile off its seacoast. U.S. officials said it appeared to be a liquid-fueled extended-range Scud missile. And for those of you who are not familiar with your air defense artillery, Scud is Patriot's favorite target, and yes, we have Patriot missile batteries up and down Korea. So, Kim Jong-un, you just get happy and try and play with those Scuds. Patriot loves to eat those things for breakfast. Now, since Trump had Jinping, President of China, Jinping, Over to Mar-a-Lago. China has agreed to quote-unquote strong new measures to punish North Korea if it carries out a nuclear test. The U.S. has signaled it may act to shut down Pyongyang's weapons program. And based on what just happened in Syria, Kim Jong-un, I'd be sleeping in a bunker. We agreed there should be additional measures based on UN Security Council resolutions that if North Korea pushes ahead with a nuclear test or ICBM launch despite warnings from the international community, it would definitely be a strategic provocation. And it would also, who knows, because there are some upcoming key political dates for North Korea. But what can I say? That I don't think Trump is going to take this one lying down, Kim Jong-un. Now, China sent an envoy to North Korea. Yes, it did. And let's hope they went, did more than, guys, will you tone it down for at least a little while? We don't need to be replacing what you're blowing up that fast. The U.S. Navy strike group Carl Vinson canceled a planned trip to Australia this weekend and headed toward the Korean Peninsula. Oh, yes. A move that will raise tensions in the region. Seoul and Washington are also conducting joint military drills, an annual exercise, which of course North Korea always has to scream, That's practice for an invasion. That's practice for an invasion. Oh, North Korea, will you can it? No, it is not. We wanted to invade your country. We wouldn't need to practice for it. I promise you that. We'd just do it. Trump has previously threatened unilateral actions against the Hermit Kingdom, a threat that appeared more palpable after Thursday's strike on a Syrian airfield. U.S. National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster on Sunday criticized North Korea as a rogue nation engaged in provocative behavior and said denuclearization of the peninsula must happen. The president has asked them to be prepared to give him a full range of options to remove that threat. So Trump's already having his planners work on this. So if you put a toe out of line, you might find some incoming missiles of ours. Now, I gotta say something, folks. While North Korea is a nuclear threat, because they do have weapons, that isn't the biggest fear. Many of you have forgotten that a decade ago, North Korea transferred a plutonium-producing reactor to Syria. Now, folks, I could go on about quackers. We all know I could sit here and talk all night. I've done it. But, unfortunately, I have got to make my way out of here. For one, the Stafford Voice is hot on my heels. And don't forget to tune in to America Off the Rails. Let's see. Yeah, it would be America Off the Rails after the Stafford Voice. And just remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Jessies POV. Or if you're old school and want to send me an email, please email me at jessiespov@klrnradio.com. And just as a reminder, 1, we are ending on taps. 2, I will see you again tomorrow. The Department of Defense announced today the death of a soldier who was supporting Operation Freedom Sentinel. Staff Sergeant Mark R. D. Al-Nasser of Edgewood, Maryland, died April 8th in Nangarhar Province, Afghanistan, of injuries sustained when his unit came in contact with enemy forces using small arms fire during combat operations. Al-Nasser was assigned to 1st Battalion, 7th Special Forces Group Airborne, Elgin Air Base, Florida. Thank you for your service, Staff Sergeant.